Hello, I'm here with Mark Petrick and Katie Rader from Mountain Cloud to offer some simple guidelines on sitting posture for meditation. The three basic elements of this practice are posture, breathing, and stilling the mind. Of these, posture is key. We're looking for a posture that is upright and balanced, fully relaxed, and fully alert. The 13th century Zen master Eihei Dogen described Zazen as sitting immovable, like a bold mountain, or mountain still sitting, the still state. For Dogen, the mountains were very alive. There's a great vitality in this stillness. Our practice embodies it and is supported by it. In a moment, Mark is going to demonstrate various options for posture. As he does, here are some basics to look for in each position. First, establish a tripod of support between your knees and seat. Knees on the mat, unless you're sitting in a chair, which is absolutely fine. In that case, feet flat on the floor. Sitting erect, not stiff. The spine and skeletal structure rising up, as if in a gentle updraft. The head rests squarely on the neck, balanced, floating up, chin slightly tucked. Eyes can be open, lowered, with a softened gaze, or open just enough to let a little light in, like letting a little light through the eyelashes. If you prefer to close the eyes, allow yourself to gaze through the lids to the field of sight. So Katie, please spotlight Mark to show us a range of positions. As a note, it can be helpful to have more than one position that suits your practice. So from one sit to another, you have the option of changing. So here is Mark sitting in a relaxed, cross-legged position, quite neutral, knees flat on the floor, on the mat. You can see that tripod of support. This is really a sort of quarter lotus posture, you might say. And then maybe just to demonstrate, since you can, the full lotus posture. This is both legs crossed, feet up on the thighs. Full lotus is considered the most stable posture, but it's also the most demanding and not to be done unless it really suits your body. Notice Mark's mudra position, his hand position, the right hand down, the left hand on top, just laying on top, and the thumbs lightly touching. And this is quite easy to rest in your lap and on the heel in this posture. Also with half lotus, which is more accessible for many people. If you're comfortable on the floor, half lotus is one leg up. This is also quite balanced and stable. And again, the mudra position, the hand position, comes quite naturally. The arms can just relax, sort of like two ropes hanging down from a balloon. And then there's also what we call Burmese, where both legs are just flat on the floor. And a lot of people find this more sustainable, still balanced. You're going to want to be sitting forward on the cushion for this so that there's not a strain to the back. And you might want to put a pillow in your lap, or a blanket or sweater, so that you can rest your hands on something and they're not pulling weight on your arms. Great. Now let's look at a few options for seiza or kneeling postures. One would be, it's possible to take that little cushion, but more comfortable is if you have a little higher cushion, a little more solid. That is a nice kneeling cushion. And this is especially helpful to people with long legs or where just kneeling is more comfortable. Still, you can see Mark is sitting forward enough that there's a slight tilt in the hips and a curve in the lower back. If your back has that natural curve, let that fall forward so that the whole back finds its natural support. And then Mark might want to show us how you could move toward the back of the mat and hang your toes off. A lot of people like this because it takes a little pressure off of the feet, and the feet are less likely to go to sleep. Really up to you. Again, if you wish, you could put something in your lap to help support the hands if you feel like there's too much downward pull. This is really something to experiment with. Another option for kneeling is the bench. Meditation benches, sometimes called prayer benches, come in all different heights, some different shapes, sometimes with cushions, this one without. So it's very helpless to find one that suits you. And you can see how that just puts the lower back in beautiful alignment because the bench is slanting forward. And again, this Mark is showing us the traditional hand position, that mudra, but it would be possible to simply fold your hands or to lay them on your thighs if that's more comfortable, if that's more at ease. I grew up with the hand position, the mudra, so I'm particularly fond of it, but fully relaxed, fully alert. Okay, thank you. Now, if none of these postures or the variations on them is comfortable for you, please use a chair. And you may want to look around for a chair that really suits you, suits your height, that's sturdy, usually a straight back chair without arms. This is perfect. Notice the feet flat on the floor. Mark is sitting forward a little, so there's, he has the chance for his back to have that natural curve and that support. If you find the balance of this, sitting forward in the chair, it should not be too fatiguing to sit like this. For some, if it starts to feel strained, you may try a little support behind the back, moving back a bit, or a cushion can be helpful. Again, really worth experimenting to find what works for you. But this chair sitting can be very still, and it may for many be the only way to sit. And for others, you might want to alternate, have the chair as an option, move from the floor for one sit to the chair for another. It's especially helpful if you're sitting a number of periods of sitting, as we might in a day of shared practice or a retreat, a longer retreat. And finally, Mark is going to show us the position for walking meditation, which you may hear called kinhin. It's simply walking meditation. For this, the hands also have a position, the right hand relaxed with the thumb inside, and just a gentle closing it in a relaxed fist. And then that goes in the solar plexus and the left hand rests upon it. So the elbows are out. You can see there's that continued sort of theme of the tripod. And then you just turn and begin a slow walk with the attention maybe on the surface of your foot, whether you're wearing socks or not, on the ground or the floor. Just slowly, you may find yourself noticing the breath, following the breath as you're stepping one step at a time. Thich Nhat Hanh offers the instruction, let your feet kiss the ground, kiss the floor with each step. And it's nice if the head and neck remain free so that you're comfortable where you're going, but you're not having to stare at the ground. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Mark, for those demonstrations. Wonderful. So I just would like to close with a short word that for some practitioners, none of these postures is really feasible. Several students I know have back issues that have required some creativity in just finding what for you is a balanced, still position that provides adequate support. And again, you may need to experiment. Try to find a position that you can sustain. Perhaps if you're new to practice, it might start at 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20. And then when we're sitting in a group at Mountain Cloud, 25 minutes. And then comes the walking. It's so helpful to be able to find the posture that suits you for one round of sitting with minimal adjustment. But if pain comes, especially over a period of more than one sit, you might have an ache in the knees or the lower back or shoulders. You can first, if you notice that, just breathe into it. Actually breathe through it. And sometimes it can just dissolve, which is a helpful experience to practice. But if it doesn't, if you feel as you're sitting that you may be hurting your body, this is not about that. Not at all. So do adjust by all means. And if at any point during a sitting period, perhaps a period where you're wanting to continue sitting longer, and you need to adjust, by all means. A helpful tip is when that arises, to just pause a moment before moving. And then let the movement be very slow, even if it's from the mat to a chair, the mat. You may just be going from cross-legged to kneeling, or you may be picking up a bench. You may be just lying down on the floor. Let yourself go slowly and just maintain that meditative awareness through the movement. This practice is so simple, and it can be so very transforming. So thank you again, Mark and Katie. Thank you for watching, and enjoy your sitting.